Now I have a breaking story. I was gonna go live today, but
It's breaking. Let's see.
well, it's not really breaking. It came out today, obviously. This nonsense, and this is hilarious because you had the United States and Pentagon that did not want to follow through on this because they know the United States would be in problem. Now, this is the story about the ICC calling for the arrest of Vladimir Putin for war crimes.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Not George W. Bush. Not Jim Crow Joe, who's funding a genocide and arming the genocide of Palestinian people as we speak. Not him. Putin. He's the guy we're going to go after. Not all these insane war criminals that was in cahoots with the Afghanistan papers that exposed the lie. Not the massive sanctions of the United States. It's Putin because he invaded a country full of white people. Putin because he dare resist our Nazi regime. That's why he's going to be arrested. Meanwhile, you have Western chauvinists and Western white liberals that confuse why people like RBN have the position that we do. That they confuse why people in Africa have the position that they do. Confused why people in India had the position that they do. People in China had the position that they do. Why the people in BRICS had the position that they do. Because we do not put you guys on this moral high ground that you guys placed yourself on. That the Morning Joe crowd and the Western chauvinists that we expect to go along with it. And somehow the United States had the high ground to criticize Putin, who even with the Ukraine war, you guys understand? The estimates are like 120,000 Ukrainian soldiers dead. That is nothing compared to what the United States did to the Middle East and South America. Every single individual president has a higher kill count than Putin, including the Ukraine war. You guys understand? Meanwhile, George W. Bush is on Ellen dancing.
Yeah.
Dancing.
I mean, alone. I mean, what's her name? McBride in that video said it was just 500,000 children we were only talking about.
Yes.
500,000 children in Iraq. And she was like, it was worth it.
Cowards of the highest order, living and benefiting from imperialism that come from the Western Empire, sponsored by the United States, NATO, but you're focused on calling out Putin? That's what you guys are. Biggest cowards that there are. The biggest cowards that could be. Now they issued the arrest warrant for Putin. I'll just read the headlines just in case you guys are not up. For the people who are not up to speed, I'll just read the first part and I'll move on. The ICC on Friday issued an arrest warrant for Vladimir Putin over his alleged involvement in the abduction of Ukrainian children and teenagers, which we literally debunked that. We debunked that on this show. These are people who was in Russian-controlled area in the Donbass in eastern Ukraine who they was orphaned often by the Western Ukrainians. You had an Azov battalion, these fascists that bombarded and killed these children. So then obviously the Russian side took them as well. And they got
killed their parents. Yeah, killed their parents.
Yeah, they killed their parents. And this is the same story they write about every single time the West come in and they kill a shit ton of people, and then the other side take the kids because that's obviously what you would do. Now, what are you gonna do with the kids? Let them starve to death? You find a war against people that literally orphaning kids, and then you take them under, and then they write stories. They say the Taliban is stealing kids. They did the same thing every single war. And I don't have the receipts pulled up right now, but literally every single war. They did the same thing in Syria, where they said they were stealing kids because they were taking kids who was orphaned by the opposition side. And a lot of these kids lived in the Donbass. These people want to be Russian. So when this war started and they were liberated by Russia, the kids obviously fell on the Ukrainian-Russian side. So now then the West melted down and say, oh my God, Russians are forcing Ukrainian kids in adoption, which is a war crime. It's propaganda of the highest order. And if you guys don't believe me, the United States did the same thing in Iraq. They took orphan kids who died in the war, and then they took them under United States influence. They did the same thing in Vietnam. There's so many examples. This is common tactics, whether you guys agree with it or not. The West engaged in this as well. We did a live stream like months ago where we debunked this. So that's
here is Zoya. I don't know if you can see the comment. Zoya says, "Who doesn't support ICC? Ukraine, U.S. and Ukraine." It's so funny because they finally get the arrest warrant they want, and they don't even support the ICC. They haven't in a while because it would come back on them. Obviously, it could eventually come back on the U.S. because they know they have the longest rap sheet. Go ahead.
Zoya is love. Zoya is life. If you guys didn't get a chance, check out Nick at Night. We returned. We were back Wednesday evening. Make sure you guys check that out. If you didn't, we covered. They usually our foreign policy live stream. Make sure you check that out. Let's continue here because that's a great point. And I have a very interesting video to show you guys. John Bolton on the ICC. We get to that later. I'll just read literally the first few bullet points. And it said why it matters. The arrest warrant for Putin and other Russian officials represent the first international charges since the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Bullet point number 1, the ICC issued an arrest warrant for Maria. I got nothing. Maria Alice Malia. Well, you guys get it. Russia commissioner for children's rights. So she's the Russian commissioner for children's rights over similar allegations. Bullet point number 2. More than 40 countries that are party to the ICC have requested its intervention, according to the New York Times, which reported on forthcoming war cases and arrest warrants. The Kremlin has previously said it does not recognize the ICC or a jurisdiction, which is the same position as the United States and Ukraine, as we showed before. Also, of Israel, the ICC has put multiple criminal charges on Israel. So now let me show you guys the United States position. And we had to go to RT to show this because they won't show this, obviously, in the West.
Not.
We had to go to RT to find it. I found this base clip, which made my job much easier. So Caleb Maupin reported on this on RT. Watch this video, and you can see the U.S. position on it.
The ICC was investigating the actions of U.S. troops in Afghanistan. He said the ICC has got to go.
We will not cooperate with the ICC. We will provide no assistance to the ICC, and we certainly will not join the ICC. We will let the ICC die on its own. After all, for all intents and purposes, the ICC is already dead to us. We will ban its judges and prosecutors from entering the United States. We will sanction their in the U.S. financial system, and we will prosecute them in the U.S. criminal system. The president will not allow American citizens to be prosecuted by foreign bureaucrats, and he will not allow other nations to dictate our means of self-defense.
But now, after withdrawing from the ICC and going all in against it, hitting it with sanctions, the United States now suddenly loves the ICC because it's talking about targeting Russia. The ICC is good if it's targeting somebody we don't like, but if it dares touch us, it's got to be abolished. The hypocrisy is pretty hard to overlook. So when U.S. officials talk about a rules-based global order, they mean rules for thee, but not for me, or do as we say, but not as we do. It's not about principles or right and wrong, but about making sure that certain entities remain at the top.
Wow, that John Bolton video, he was like, ain't none of this fuck ICC shit. That ain't happening.
The biggest gangster. The biggest gangster. This is why I give no credence and no quarter for anyone who claimed that Trump is some sort of agent of fighting against the establishment. He hired John Bolton, son. Steve Mnuchin, Mike Pompeo. Oh, he had a secret plan, though. He hired the worst people. He said it was under the Trump administration. He said this in 2019. So this is the position of the Trump administration. We're fighting our war crimes. We're protecting our swamp monsters. The Trump administration was protecting swamp monsters, guys. Do not give any quarter to these people who try to rewrite history and pretend that Trump is anti-war. And this is why my gut reaction is, despite the fact that he says good thing about Ukraine and all this stuff about being anti-war, he's not going to do it because he said that last time.
Yeah,
how many times he got lied to you?
He said a bunch of popular stuff last time. He's not doing no more.
Yeah, well said.